In the frigid echo of Moscow's most secretive halls, power was not something merely exercised, but rehearsed. Behind the crimson velvet curtains of the Kremlin, armies moved at a whisper, ministers bowed their heads, and even the air seemed aligned to a single will. Here, one life could shift the fate of millions. Yet, for Felix Tadeev, a life was not his own, it was a borrowed mask, cold and heavy. Felix was born among the wild winds and copper-colored stones of the Caucasus, where legends grew alongside the children. He had always been quick of foot and hungry for applause. As a boy, his laughter filled theaters; as a young man, his dance could silence a room. What began as joy and movement would, by an awful twist, become mimicry and survival. The night he was chosen was like any other, a burst of music, the taste of sweat and spotlight. But the ending was different. A stern-faced officer beckoned him after the performance. Felix's request for details was met with a single, quiet phrase: "The motherland needs you." That same night, his identity began to dissolve. He was taken into a world without sunlight, where mirrors and silence became his teachers. Experts from the state shaped him, remolding voice and posture until the resemblance was unmistakable. He learned to hold himself not as a dancer, but as an icon, every word, every gesture, a matter of national security. He bore the mustache, the limp, even the stare. Soon, not even his closest friends would have recognized him. The mirror showed only the terror and gravity of Stalin. His life as a decoy was a careful, silent agony. He stood on parade platforms with medals gleaming on his chest, needing the cracked cheers and vigilant stares of thousands. Guards watched both him and above him for any flicker that might herald a rifle's sight. At such moments, Felix understood he was both shield and target, basking in adulation meant for another, yet always one step away from death. Nevertheless, he moved through these moments as a ghost might, present and yet unseen. No one dared speak to Stalin but in carefully chosen words. At banquets, he lifted his glass with a practiced hand. At funerals, he scowled in mock grief. Between assignments, he returned to his small, cold apartment, a dancer with no audience, rehearsing a part even in solitude. Each evening, he unpinned the medals, washed away the makeup, and interrogated the silent stranger in the mirror. There were days he longed for the laughter of his youth, the honest sweat of the stage. Yet all that remained was silence, weighted by a secret that never loosened its grip. After Stalin died, the world shifted with brutal suddenness. Felix was erased from the ledgers, instructed to blend into the gray multitude. Years passed, the state wore a different face. He married, grew old, visited the theater in disguise, always haunted by the knowledge that he had danced his most dangerous steps in someone else's shoes. Only in the winter of his years did the truth begin to emerge. Reluctantly, Felix shared his tale, not for glory, but to reclaim his own reflection, to remind the world that behind every mask stands a man, longing for applause, hungering for the truth of his own name. In the end, Felix Tadeev walked quietly off the world stage. His story lingers as a testament to sacrifice, for sometimes, history is written not by those who rule, but by those whose faces are never truly their own.